What's up, guys, and welcome to the um, Sunday watch list video. And let's take a look at the overall markets to get started here. Um, so we've got we've got our two closes under the 21 here. So at that point, you can kind of see here we were rejecting off the 618 of this retracement over and over again. And so now, what we're probably looking for is a move back to this support level at this point, unless we can reclaim. So we've gotten two closes under the 21. If we can take a look at the previous times that has happened, um, let's see here. So there's two closes, and then we eventually got a flush. There's two closes above, got a nice move up. Two closes below, got a flush. Two closes above, we got to move up. Let's see if we can find some other examples here. There's one close below. There's your two closes below, a little bit of a flush. And so typically this will signal it's a pretty good indicator of a trend change. So we've gotten two closes below, so we could be looking for this squeeze here to fire it to the short side. Pretty plain and simple. Look at the weekly time frame. We've got a momentum bar lost, and if you know, you've been trading with me for a while, it's kind of this common theme of what you'll see is um, you'll have a weekly squeeze, and then that momentum will run out, and then eventually you'll get a squeeze to fire short. So, like if we take a look at this here, a daily squeeze. So, like you'll see a weekly squeeze fire off, you'll get the nice run up, and then eventually what will happen is the momentum will run out. And then you'll have a daily squeeze that rolls over to the downside. So let's just take a look at a few of these examples. Where are you at? There we go. Oops. So if you're looking at these, and this is just the typical cycle of how the market will trade most of the time. So like you're looking at the daily time frame. So these are when the squeezes ended, right? So what you'll see is you'll have a nice trend of that weekly squeeze, and then what will happen is you'll have a daily squeeze that forms, and then it will fire to the downside. And then here's another example, weekly squeeze fires off to the upside. This time it didn't have a daily squeeze, but it did have a 195-minute squeeze that fired off to the short side. And so there's that. And then if we go to the daily, back to the daily, then you can see um, now what we have is the similar pattern. So, well, hold on. I think I'm missing one of the ones that we discussed. Yeah, so here's another example. So weekly squeeze run up, nice move higher, and then um, there you go. We get this daily squeeze, it fires to the short side, and that kind of creates this downtrend. Daily squeeze, move to the downside, daily squeeze, move to the downside. And then we got this weekly squeeze that fired off. We got some trending action for a while, and then daily squeeze fired to the short side. After the weekly squeeze ended, right? And then we got another weekly squeeze move and then move to the downside. So what I'm looking for is this is probably going to fire short based on previous price action and kind of what has happened in the past. Okay, so now what are we looking at? So if we go look at QQQ, similar story. We've got the two closes, a retest. So that's looking pretty bearish. We've got that red dot squeeze. This one could never end up making new all-time highs. So warning sign for sure. So you can see here, two closes under the 21. There's a flush. Um, two closes above the 21. We get to move up. Two closes below, then there's a flush. Two closes above, then we start trending higher. And then two closes below, now we're starting to move lower. Or, well, we may begin to trend lower. So we need to reclaim that 21 EMA to be bullish long term. For now, I think we're in the mode of maybe we want to look to short the indexes. Um, maybe use the 30-minute squeeze as a way to do so. Um, and basically just looking for some signals. So you can see those last ones worked out pretty well. Kind of got a push here, but failed. This one failed, and then that one worked out pretty well. So we've been in pretty pricey chop or just consolidation between 500 and this 618. So I think if we break this, that's going to be, or the 786, that's going to be a pretty bearish sign for the markets. I haven't checked. Do we have a 2 day? Yeah, we've got a 2 day squeeze that we're just starting. 3 day squeeze. Uh, weekly has yet to fire off. Momentum is still headed to the upside. So if we hold this 786 for QQQ, expect us to continue. But based on uh, previous times, it's looking pretty bearish. And also looking at the DIA, this one has continued to hold below the 21 EMA. So you can see here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive days of um, price action closing below the 21 EMA. And then you can see here we fired short, or we had this move down, this big gap down. And then now we came back to retest it. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the key retest here for probably continuation of a downtrend. So we need to see, for us to continue to look bearish, we need to see a move to the downside on this one. Uh, for it to be a short-term downtrend, which all I'm really expecting is for all of these is a reversion to the 21 EMA. That's it. Okay. So we can still stay focused on relative strength names. Otherwise, we got to be a little cautious because the indexes are slightly bearish. So um, we just want to keep that in mind. We've got some setups, nothing too much here. Uh, and you can see similar story here. Weekly squeeze is now ending. We've got the daily is now moving below that 21. So this just looks like a typical reversion to the mean on the weekly time frame for pretty much all indexes. And so price levels we're looking for and actually end up being pretty good support. 410 on DIA, QQQ, that's 618, which is 475. SPY, we're looking at 560, so about 10 points lower, so 2% lower. Um, yeah. And so now what we can look for is, okay, what relative strength names, looking for setups, stocks that have some pretty good setups, and strongest trends. So BX is one that has a really strong trend, really strong chart. You can see we had this buy signals here, best risk to reward entry here, and then a nice move up off the weekly. But when we're looking at this, we've got a nice consolidation pattern right here. And so we'll be looking for signals to play off of this one because it seems that these signals work pretty well on this chart. You can see these orange ones, those are reversal signals. They're not really ones to pay attention to as much. But we can see here the last buy signal that printed was a really nice move up. And now we're getting a really nice consolidation pattern. So BX is one to keep an eye on. That's probably one of the best charts looking out there. PNC, this is a pretty solid chart, but we're right at that point where well, we wouldn't want to look to go long if it breaks below the 21 EMA. And this is another bank name. A lot of banks are looking good right now. GS looks pretty solid in a bull flag, tight consolidation above support. So for this one, I'm looking for a move higher. That 4 hour squeeze looks pretty good. It looks like a little bit of a slingshot type action. So that looks really strong. JPM looks very similar. This one's like a very, very tight consolidation. cup and handle pattern. And so this one looks pretty strong. Orange dot squeeze, so we got to be aware of that. But other than that, this is a pretty solid looking chart, right near all-time highs. And then we look at the weekly, and you can see that this weekly squeeze has yet to fire off. So, and we were printing buy signals. So maybe this is one we want to look to buy and potentially look for a move up into 233. So banks overall are looking good. I'm gonna make sure that's save the default. And then some other charts that are just have been showing some strength. Cart, this is a really strong looking stock. It's been holding up really nice trend at all-time highs. And I'm thinking this may see a run in earnings and just simply follow the trend. It has a really nice chart. This is probably one of the best looking charts out there right now. 4 hour squeeze. We've been getting some buy signals. Let's see if we can get a move or a run into earnings. Dash, also a really good looking chart. The main thing here is we had earnings. So I want to see, okay, can we print another buy signal for a move up into that earnings report high? And then eventually that 618 level, which is around 75. But this is also a really strong looking chart. I just don't like that we sold and filled the gap like we did on off of earnings. So, but right now, just watching that 4 hour, 195-minute squeeze, this is one of the best looking trends out there right now. CART is one of them as well. FCL, don't like that chart. I'm just trying to think of the ones that have been sticking out. Okay, so Clove, this is one that looks really strong. The only thing is that earnings is coming up. Um, but this one has just had a really strong trend, and you're looking at the daily time frame, you can see these pretty explosive pops. Seems to be a pretty heavily shorted stock. So when it gets that buy signal, it sees a nice pop, buy signal, it sees a nice pop. So this daily squeeze, maybe we can get a buy signal and trade it to the upside. And as for other ones with really strong, yeah, AMC, I don't like I don't like this one much. Um, DocuSign is one that I am a fan of. This chart looks really good, just waiting on a buy signal, still slingshot going on. But this is showed relative strength on Friday, up 2.5%. And you can see here we have this gap up and we're showing some strength. So I'm looking for a move into 75 on this name. Um, chart looks really good. We go to the weekly. Um, there's potential if we break out of this base that which we're currently above that support level, we could see a nice move. So keep an eye on that one. A plus signal on GLW, not the best risk to reward entry, but similar story. We are breaking or trying to break out of this base and this resistance level, which will open up the door for a move up into the 50% retracement and around $60. So this one just has a strong trend right now and has seen some pretty good momentum. You can see that we've continued to just trade higher. So we did come down back to that 8 EMA. So if we hold, I do like that one for continued upside. And these are kind of just those ones that are outperforming that are doing their own thing, right? So you can see here, here's the top three with the strongest trend. So GLW based on the daily chart, CART, and that have a squeeze. So this scan is looking at strongest trend or sorted by strongest trend, and then the if it's in a daily squeeze. So these are the top three that I'm paying attention to into next week. We can kind of continue through here. Airbnb, that's not really one that we're going to want to touch because it has earnings. Same with ATMU. Um, This one I'm not too sure about. Don't really know anything about it, but it looks like it might be coming up on some resistance here. So yeah, we're rejecting off that 618. Buyers are stepping in. Got earnings, so we gotta scratch that one as well. Yeah, we've got a lot of earnings coming up. So a lot of those are my top picks that I want to give you guys. These three banks, these three, and then banks are the main ones you want to pay attention to. Some longer term plays that I do like. Our VKTX. This one we did pick up on Friday. I'm looking for this weekly squeeze to fire off to the upside, break this resistance at 79, and eventually get to 88, and then the all-time high here at around $100. Based on the way the earnings reaction was, the daily chart looks like it's just pulling back, consolidating a little bit. I think we can get a pretty quick pop up into that 79 again. So I do like this one. We bought it at support, so I'm looking for continuation higher. Um, and then Snow, weekly sell signals, but I'm not going to play those. Let's see, Costco, pretty solid weekly chart. We just don't have a buy signal just yet, but this chart looks pretty solid overall. TJX, this is probably one of my favorite weekly charts. You can see the consistency of the buy signals here. So A plus buy signal, strong move up from 84 to 90, 95-ish. And when was this? This was in July, August, September. Few years ago. And then you can see here buy signals here move from 91 up into 102. Buy signal here from 100 up to 120. So always like to keep an eye on TJX and looking for a buy signal on that one. Pretty strong. And then we've got here A plus signal on DFS. This one is a little far gone, but I think that this one, JPM, banks in general, pretty solid names to trade it to the upside. And then COF, I wouldn't touch this one in comparison to DFS because this one is near all-time highs. Uh, NVIDIA. Nah, I think that's all the ones that I want to give you guys that I really like going forward. So I like these three here: GLW, Cart, and Clove. Earnings coming up on Clove, so be aware of that. And then as for these here, VKTX is definitely the most solid looking weekly chart with buy signals I'm seeing right now. And then DFS, but I'm really looking for a spot or waiting for the opportune time to buy some TJX and then potentially Costco because that one's one of the stronger ones with a strong trend. And this one looks great as well. So LII, I believe this is home builders. But yeah, I hope this helps. Essentially, what we're doing is playing stocks with strong trends and looking for those outperformers and relative strength names. But thank you guys for watching. If you have other tickers that you think I should take a look at, feel free to send them in down below and give us a like. We would really appreciate it. And hope you had a good weekend. And I'll see you for the markets this week.